Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and it's match preview time. Woohoo! Before we get any further with the video, just a quick reminder that the giveaway is still running. You have still got a chance to enter through the top line of the description. Go and use that link, very simple. Follow me on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube. That's all you have to do, and you can be in with a chance of winning the prizes that I announced in a video last week. Keep up with me on Twitter. As you can tell, my tone isn't too upbeat at the minute. So if you want a chance, 25k is the target we're trying to get to, and then it'll be announced. So we're only about 500 subs away. Madness, thank you all so much. Right, back to talking about Celtic then, and it's becoming more of a chore every time. We head to Rugby Park tomorrow night, of course, on a game which I'm not looking forward to. Look, games are flying in thick and fast for Celtic, and usually I would enjoy that. You know, games every 3 or 4 days, I like it. You've got something to do, something to look forward to. You know, especially if you were at the grounds, it's good. But I mean, right now I would take anything over watching Celtic play, but here we are. We have a tough task ahead of us tomorrow, and Kilmarnock, interestingly, go into this game without a manager. Alex Dyer is gone. He stepped down or left by mutual consent on Saturday, following their 3-2 loss to St Johnstone, which could give Kilmarnock a little bit of a lift. You know, that seems to happen. You know, manager leaves the club and things change and teams get a lift. You know, start doing better for a wee while. You know, we could have had that back in October or November, a little lift, maybe something to shout about. But no, some managers like to keep themselves on the job and look forward to a rebuild they should not be a part of. But no, Rugby Park, it's a tough game, we all know it, and we've already been this season and struggled. I think that looking back on that game now, it's crazy to think that, you know, alarm bells, in domestic terms anyway, should have been ringing that day. At the time, I was very guilty of not looking into how poor we were at the time. I think that I kind of overlooked it just to the fact it was Rugby Park, and that we've struggled at Rugby Park a lot over the last 3 or 4 years. But when you generally think back to the course of the 90 minutes of that game back in, what was it, September now, when you think back to that, you know, it was generally atrocious. And I know we gave away a penalty, and you know, we could say we were unlucky in those terms, but we just weren't good enough. We couldn't break Kilmarnock down, and from then it's snowballed, and we've been worse at trying to break teams down. We've not improved, and that day should have told us. I mean, a lot of people seen it as soon as we were knocked out of the Champions League by Ferencvaros, and that was where the alarm bells should have started ringing. But especially then, in terms of where we were going to head on a domestic level, Kilmarnock really opened the door to show just how easy it is to frustrate this Celtic side, this Neil Lennon Celtic side. But we take them on again at Rugby Park tomorrow, and it's going to be just as difficult. Even without a manager now, a lot of people may feel confident heading into a game where Kilmarnock don't have a manager and they're off the back of a poor run of form. But to me, it makes things even more difficult. I think that they'll be going out to try and give the fans some positives. You know, the fans have been just as unlucky down in Ayrshire as we have this season with how poor their team has been. You know, they've obviously had their successes over the past few years too, but this season, you know, the players will be severely disappointed as to what they've been giving back to the fans. And Kilmarnock have been in that unlucky situation too, where they've had a lot of the COVID scenarios and the breaches of protocols and stuff, and things just haven't went their way, from that to injuries and everything else. So the fans need something back, and the players will be understanding now that Alex Dyer, a man who they seem to really have liked, is now gone. They needed to now fight hard, because they're in serious jeopardy of being pulled into a relegation battle. I think they're now only 5 points off of 11th place Hamilton or so. So it's not going to be easy for Kilmarnock the rest of this season, and what a better way to give the fans something to shout about than getting another positive result against Celtic at Rugby Park. And if they've took anything from September and the past few years, they certainly can do so. Just realised Hamilton are actually bottom, so reverse my fact a minute ago from 11th place Hamilton to 12th placed Hamilton. So in terms of Celtic, it's just the same old, isn't it? Like, coming into these match previews now, I've said this time and time again, this season I feel like I've not been able to do myself justice as someone who likes to break down the game, speak about it in a sense that, and offer some analysis, talk about some nice technical parts of the game. You know, I've not been able to do that this season because it's just not been there. And heading into every single game, it's a guessing game. You don't know what Neil Lennon's going to do, and we've made the joke before, the Neil of Fortune, you know, pick names out of hat and picking formations out of hat. You know, we've joked and laughed about it enough that it is the reality now. You just don't know what to expect, and players are now going out looking clueless, and it's exactly what I expect tomorrow night. I've completely 100% gave up on any optimistic thoughts towards games now. I've tried and tried, and people will hate it in the comments. Oh, you're turning into one of them. You'll be a Rangers channel next season. No, I just don't see why I should disguise the negatives with blind faith or blind optimism, because I'm not optimistic of Celtic going and winning at Rugby Park tomorrow. I'll be perfectly blunt about that. And there's nothing that I can say from the last few performances that gives me anything to work off to head into here and say, yep, we'll see that, or anything that makes me think that we can go and give Kilmarnock a tough game. I think that Kilmarnock will do what they usually do, and we know what that is. They play to their advantages, first of all, with the surface. You know, it suits them down to a T, and they're used to it. And it's always something I hate using as an excuse, and I would never use it as an excuse to why we lose a game or so, but it is an advantage to Kilmarnock. It always will be. So they'll use that to their advantage. They'll set up with a very defensive manner and try and strike us in the counter-attack. They'll get physical with our back line. They'll look to make Shane Duffy make mistakes, pull them down, maybe give away a penalty, and quite rightfully so. And I think that is realistically what to expect from Kilmarnock tomorrow night. They will try and rough up the centre halves. And Shane Duffy will, you know, more than likely be victim of something stupid. And Kabamba, whoever plays up the top of the park, will get the best of him. You know, he turns like a 38. If he'll need to, he'll try and pull them down. They'll get physical and annoy him throughout the game. Very simple for Kilmarnock. The comments after the St Mirren game and from the press conference today are simply pathetic at this point. Neil Lennon is pulling the club down with him at this point. You know, it's a completely selfish act. You know, a lot of people are now only starting to go, right, come on, you leave with some dignity, but the dignity was gone a long time ago. And look, you know, when you hear him speak, and especially today, and you hear it and you know that he's going to be here for the next however many weeks or months, it just saddens you, really. But you know, there's not much to expect from us now. You know, it's going to be a torrid run of form, I would imagine. We're already 8 wins in our past 24. I imagine it's going to keep going like that from Kilmarnock tomorrow night throughout, when we go to play Rangers. We're a team that don't know how to play against Rangers. Look, you can say as much as you like. We tried to that we figured it out in the last one, and then a red card cost us the game. But look, the reality is that the run of form that we're going to go on with 2 games against Rangers is probably going to widen the gap as it already is. So I'm fully prepared at this point. I'm accepting to it, and Kilmarnock tomorrow night, I think, is just another one that's going to perhaps pile on the misery for us as fans. But it's going to be another game that just goes to show how safe Neil Lennon is in that job. You see the fact that there's talk today of John Joe Kenny signing. We're still waiting to find out what happens with Ben Davies, if he goes to Liverpool, if he goes to Burnley, if he comes to Celtic, whatever. You hear all this talks, and Cham looks to be part the man behind this. You know, we hear all of this. To me, it is a clear indication that Lennon will be here until the end of the season, and it's a sad reality that we've got to accept now. It looks as though that the spineless board have accepted the fact that the season's done and there's no point of changing things, there's no point in wasting the money. But the fact that we're now letting Lennon go out and make these signings and all that just fills me with so much dread as to what to expect over the next few months, not just on the park but off the park. Is Lennon generally going to be here for a rebuild? Oh, we're not even talking about the game anymore. This is Celtic's season. So to wrap up and try and talk about the game once more. Look, I don't expect Celtic to win. Of course, I want Celtic to win. Don't be daft. I want Celtic to win every chance they can, but I don't expect us to win. And I would maybe stretch it as far as saying I don't think we'll win. I think Kilmarnock have shown so many times now how good they can be against us at Rugby Park. And you know, of course, we won there last season, but it wasn't exactly comfortable for late periods in the game. So I would stretch it as far as saying I don't think we'll win tomorrow. I think it's just, you know, watch as minutes pass by, watch as defensive errors unfurl, and hope for the best of the likes of David Turnbull and Edouard. Hope that they're on the top of their game. That just seems to be the tactic now. Hope. It's the one key word that I think Neil Lennon will be just throwing round his head time and time again. Hope. Because he's hoping they'll cling on to a job, and he'll hope those players go out and play for him. Ultimately, you know, there's no hope left. But it's just what I expect. Kilmarnock will rough us up. They'll try and get an early lead, and then they'll set up shop, and we'll do what we always do: struggle to break them down. That is literally all I can give for the preview. It's what I'm working with at the minute. I don't have anything to have a nice chat about the game anymore. It's been ripped away from me. It's great, fantastic. Anyway, team prediction. He'll go with the same team. He'll probably end up shoving Hazard in goals. That's my prediction there. And score prediction, I'm not even going to bother. I'm not going to bother at all. One each. There we go. One each. That's what I'm going with. Christ, what a sad state of affairs. Anyway, like and subscribe. Enter the giveaway the link below, and I'll see you all next time.